Hello everybody and welcome to the Military ChessBoard channel. In today's video, we'll start from the Avdiivka frontline. On this battlefront, Ukrainian forces have continuously repelled Russia's intense attacks. Notably, North Korea seems to have chosen to step into this bloody conflict by deciding to supply ballistic missiles to Russia. This move not only escalates the danger on the battlefield, but also provokes a wave of outrage from the United States. Washington, unwilling to accept any intervention that could alter the balance of power, has reacted strongly with retaliatory and strict punitive measures, sending a message to the world about their determination to protect justice and regional stability. At Avdiivka, we've witnessed significant changes in tactics and movement direction. The first thing to mention is the spectacular counterattack that Ukraine carried out near Provokes. We know that recently Russia has been making gradual inroads and recording considerable progress in this area. However, today, the tactical landscape has completely changed. The Ukrainian forces have not only stood firm against excessive attacks, but have also demonstrated their strength and determination by repelling powerful assaults from the enemy. Yesterday, I was a bit worried because Russia had crossed this river. But now, with complete information, fortunately, Ukraine still controls it. In another noteworthy development, Russia has initiated another attack in the northern part of Avdiivka. Let's move to this complex area. This is probably a bad sign because this place is located very close to a factory and has a connecting road to Avdiivka, meaning that the Russian army is attempting to sever Ukraine's route. And here's an update from another source, the Telegram page Majakovsk. You can observe the progress of the Russian military. They're taking control of several residential buildings and continuing to advance. Unfortunately, Ukraine is trying to halt Russia's progress by using artillery or even tanks in this location within the factory. This is not a major advance for the Russian army, but it's ongoing. They've been unable to make significant headway here, which is why they're attempting various other attacks. Previously, they'd failed in their attack at Stepova, so now they're trying different tactics. Some news from the Marinka direction, as I analyzed in a previous video, shows the Russian military attempting to use MTLB armored vehicles. They're loading these vehicles with a significant amount of explosives and sending them across minefields, causing the mines to detonate and create a chain reaction. Essentially, this is their method of clearing a path for their forces, and this is a typical Russian style of attack, followed by sending a convoy of vehicles. As seen in this video, you can identify 4 vehicles, including tanks and armored vehicles. The outcome is entirely understandable when their convoy ignites into flames. In their blind attempts at attack, they not only witness the disintegration of their formation, but also lose their modern tanks, symbols of military strength. Conversely, though, the Ukrainian military has continued to demonstrate its prowess by effectively employing UAVs, targeting Russian armored vehicles and even tanks. Clearly, the UAVs are asserting their irreplaceable role in modern warfare. You can see that it's possible to target vehicles even in the forest, lying hidden among the trees. This is quite intriguing, really, because it's like a computer game where the tank suffers some damage, the tank stops, catches fires, and then explodes. This is another direction, the northern part of Ukraine, near Kupiansk. Russian military bloggers claim that these tanks belong to the Ukrainian army. However, this is a lie. In reality, this scene was captured by a Ukrainian drone. We also have video evidence confirming that these tanks are in fact Russian. Next, we have even more intriguing news. Russia has lost another Su-34 fighter bomber. The image we present here is of the Su-34 before it was destroyed at the Shangol airfield at Chelyabinsk in Russia. Essentially, the aircraft was engulfed in flames. However, there's still no information about how it actually happened, but the Ukrainian side claims it was an operation conducted by their special forces. Ukraine has also released this video. Here you can see the aircraft and its fuselage, and I might say it appears to be a Su-34. And yes, someone is indeed very pleased with this result. So it's highly probable that either Ukrainian special forces or some intelligence agency carried out this mission. Hopefully, Russia has finally lost this aircraft, as the fire was quite extensive at that location. Recently, Russia has been using a significant number of ballistic missiles, and today we've uncovered information about them. It appears that North Korea, unfortunately, has supplied Russia with these ballistic missiles. This type of missile is known as a KN-23, which is a modern weapon of North Korea. They introduced it into their military arsenal back in 2019. I would say it closely resembles Russia's Iskander missiles. The problem here, though, is that these missiles are very difficult to intercept, and there are rumors that Russia wants to acquire more ballistic missiles from Iran. The Guardian publication cited information from the White House as saying Russia has started using ballistic missiles supplied by North Korea to attack Ukraine. Washington also alleged Russia was in talks with Iran to buy short-range ballistic missiles. The U.S. intelligence assessment is that Iranian missiles have not yet arrived in Russia, but that the deal will eventually be done. And the U.S.'s National Security Council spokesperson, John Kirby, said on Thursday that Russia fired a North Korean ballistic missile into Ukraine on 30th December, but it landed in an open field. However, Kirby said Russian forces had launched more such missiles as part of a large salvo on the 2nd Jan, and their impact is yet to be assessed. The quote is, "Due in part to our sanction and export controls, Russia has become increasingly isolated on the world stage, and they've been forced to look to like-minded states for military equipment. As we've been warning publicly, one of those states is indeed North Korea." Kirby told reporters at the White House, adding it was a significant and concerning escalation in Pyongyang's support for Moscow. In response, Kirby said the U.S. would impose sanctions on those involved in facilitating the arms transfer and take the matter of Russia's weapons trade with North Korea to the United Nations as a violation of international arms embargo. As you can see, this war is not just between Russia and Ukraine. It's a battle between autocratic regimes and democracy. We can observe that autocratic regimes can be quickly united, providing additional military support to the Russian Federation. Ukraine lacks such tools from its allies and can travel hundreds of kilometers. We do have strike weapons, but only a few, and their operational range is quite limited compared to the destructive power of these missiles. Therefore, Ukraine is unable to cut off the supply line of the Kerch Bridge. However, North Korean missiles can carry half-ton warheads and travel 700 kilometers, which is indeed a significantly long range. However, there is no certainty from our allies about whether they want to support Ukraine's offensive operations to regain all its territory. My personal opinion is that we will definitely receive support from our allies in the future, but this support will likely only enable Ukraine to fight in its current or nearby positions. Russia, for sure, is not interested in negotiations, with Putin aiming to seize the territories he desires, at least in the eastern and southern parts of Ukraine. But his primary goal is to completely transform Ukraine. He wants Ukraine to become a vassal state like Belarus is today. However, the White House administration today stated that such a scenario is unrealistic for Putin, and let's just hope that that is the case. Andriy Kostin, Prosecutor General of Ukraine, visited the sites of Russian attacks on civilian infrastructure in the Kharkiv region with International Criminal Court to investigate potential war crimes since Russia invaded almost 2 years ago. In his tweet, he said, "We are closely cooperating with the ICC in investigating the facts of civilian killings, torture, deprivation of liberty, sexual violence, and shelling of critical civilian infrastructure." We also visited the village of Roza. On 5th October 2023, a missile strike from an Iskander missile targeted a cafe in the village, resulting in the tragic loss of 59 lives, which is nearly a quarter of Roza's population. The investigation has already identified those who directed the enemy fire. We're working to identify the Russian servicemen who executed this attack and the officers who gave this criminal order. Our commitment to restoring justice is unwavering, and I'm grateful for all the support in these efforts. So, the question I wanted to ask is, would you want a Russian passport just by fighting for the Russian army for a while? Unfortunately, there's some volunteers in the Russian army, many of them coming from Nepal, Cuba, and Syria, as well as some from African countries that support Russia, and of course, as we mentioned, North Korea. However, There are also international fighters battling for Ukraine, such as the volunteers from South Korea. Even Kazakhstan is cautious about aligning too closely with Russia. That's why they've started blocking Russian propaganda news channels. Explosions have been reported in Crimea. Sevastopol is under missile attack. Local groups have written about an attack on a military unit, which is a command communication center, in Ukrainian Balka. Ambulances and firefighters have been dispatched to the area. The Russian Ministry of Defense claims that they've shot down all Ukrainian missiles and unmanned aerial vehicles. However, as seen in this video, there's a ground explosion with smoke rising involving a cruise missile. Obtaining such information from the Russian public is becoming increasingly difficult as they strictly censor news, especially when it pertains to their losses. Our video for today comes to an end here. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to support the channel. As always, thank you for listening, and we look forward to seeing you in our upcoming videos.